This is for year 11 methods. We're going to look at exercise 2B, question 7D. Okay, so we're trying to find um, the angle joining these 2 points with the positive x-axis. Okay, so if I were to find the gradient of this line, I go y2 minus y1, 0 minus 5, over x2 minus x1, so minus 5 minus 0. So that comes positive 5 over negative 5, which it gives you a -1. Now, you've got to be really careful with negative gradients. If I do a visualization, I can click on there. Okay, you got it. Okay, if I do a visualization, so let's just say this is my gradient. What what the what the calculator tries to find is the angle to the line. Now, this is not the angle we actually want. We actually want the angle going from the positive x-axis going counterclockwise. So we want actually that angle. Now, how do I go from this angle to that angle? Well, if I go clockwise, the angle will be negative actually. Okay, so now we know that with a straight line, what's the total angle? We know it's 180 degrees, right? So if we know what this angle is, and it's negative, if I add that to 180, I get what's left over, which is what we want. Okay, so it's a bit tricky with negative angles. All you need to do is the formula would be theta equals inverse tan -1 of m, because that'll give you a negative angle if the gradient's negative, plus 180. Okay, so that's how you approach it. So what I do is I go, all right, my gradient I know is -1, so I sub in the gradient, -1 plus 180, like that. Okay, so if you use your CAS calculator, you know that inverse tan of -1 gives you -45 degrees. If I add that to 180 degrees, I should get 135 degrees. Okay, which makes sense because looking at this, this is going to be an obtuse angle. Okay, so if you use a calculator, you got -45 degrees. That's not the right answer. Okay, because you're always looking at the angle from the positive x-axis to the line going counterclockwise. Now, question 8 is another example of this. So if I have my gradient, I've got 1 minus 4 over 6 minus 3. That's -3 over 9. That's -1/3. So if again, we've got a negative gradient, so use the formula inverse tan of the gradient, which is -1/3, plus 180 degrees. I should get my answer. So let's use the calculator. Okay, so I'm gonna go, obviously you're gonna do this on your CAS calculator. I don't have one on me, so I'll just use this. So I've got -1/3. I'm going to inverse tan it, okay, and I'm going to add it to 180. Hang on, equals 161 point, it says two decimal places, 161.57. Okay, 161.57 degrees. Okay, so that's basically how you approach these problems. Okay, with a positive gradient, no problems. Let's just say my gradient's 4. All you need to do is just go inverse tan of 4 and you get your answer. Okay, but with negative gradients, so the -1, you have to add 180 to it, okay, to get the obtuse angle. So hopefully that helps.